Howdy howdy. With over 24,000 restaurants, KFC has discovered that chicken is a very safe fast food choice. But KFC is also notorious for branching out into some wild menu choices. Some of these crazy choices resulted in some favorites today, like chicken tenders. Others just flopped and ended up fascinating failures. Sometimes KFC got so crazy that they even renamed their restaurants. Or maybe they took their menus 10,000 feet into the air. So let's head back to some food videos and check out the cancelled Kentucky Fried failures. It's good to be back to food videos. Let's begin. Let's start with number 7. Kentucky roast beef. When Colonel Sanders sold KFC to investors in 1964, he could never imagine some of the bizarre plans those investors had for KFC. One investor named John Brown believed that KFC could sell any food. His words, not mine. Buddy Johnny said,
I know. Let's make a restaurant called Kentucky Beef and Ham.
Sanders thought it was an insanely stupid idea, but he'd sold the company to investors, so he couldn't stop them. Thus, in 1968, we ended up with 100 new restaurants. Some were called Kentucky Roast Beef. Others were called Kentucky Roast Beef and Ham, because, you gotta have ham. These restaurants made roast beef sandwiches, and ham too. For some reason, they sold ham. Make sure your friends know. I mean, not that I have anything against roast beef or ham. Both would be a considerably healthier option than a fried chicken sandwich. And I make ham sandwiches at home regularly. This is not what I'd expect for a, takeaway food. The roast beef sandwich itself consisted of slow-cooked beef and a buttered bun. Plus, of course, all the sandwiches had the signature 11 herbs and spices.
Made from the Colonel's secret recipe of 11 herbs and spices.
Plus, quote-unquote, the smoked-in flavor of the backwoods. Smoked-in backwoods. I'm sorry, I live in Australia, so all I can picture from that is forest fires. But by the end of the second year, it was apparent that KFC's roast beef restaurants were a failure, and they decided to sell all 100 of the restaurants they'd bought. Plus their ham. They also sold their ham. But why did KFC fail with their roast beef? Well, the beef was apparently very costly to manufacture, and customers just thought the roast beef sandwich was too damn expensive. I mean, it cost customers a whole 79 cents. And in the 60s, customers could get a whole junior dinner for 85 cents. I think it costs like 5 to 7 times more now to get a single burger. Cheapest. Prices certainly change over time. So from then on, KFC mostly stuck to the meat they knew worked. Chicken. And what do we got for number 6? KFC's Nacho Box. I'm reminded of an ad here, where a family's trying to decide whether to use soft shell or crunchy shell tacos. Then, a truly brilliant kid pipes up and says,
¿Por qué no los dos?
That's kind of what happened here with the KFC Nacho Box. Some conglomerate hotshot said they wanted chicken, but also nachos. So why not have both? And this is what we got. In this beautifully photoshopped fake picture, we have popcorn chicken, salsa and cheese on a bed of corn chips. But what customers actually got was a mucky pile of cheesy bilge. It's like they just threw the ingredients in the air and hoped for the best. If we are actually meant to be eating with our eyes, well, my eyes are puking.
I'm gonna be sick!
If I may interject here, Strider, I was actually one of the victims that had consumed this monstrosity from KFC. And coming from someone who has tried weird products from this establishment like the chicken donut sandwich and the original Double Down, let's just say that my stomach has yet to forgive Colonel Sanders for what the nachos had done to me back then. Trust me when I say that they messed me up big time.
Ugh, my condolences, Ricky. That sounds terrible. I think the Facebook comments sum up the consensus well here.
Can I please get mold with mine?
And yeah, in many reviews, a common complaint was the mold, which is not a good look for a quote-unquote fresh fast food meal. You see, not long after the Nacho Box was released, the complaints started flooding in. Somewhere out there was a bunch of moldy cheese doing its rounds, and it made its home atop the KFC Nacho Box. Ew, as if these nachos weren't ugly enough already. Now we get a side of penicillin with our Linnerbox lunch. And it's not just me, many of the reviews weren't much friendlier, including this Lifehacker article.
It looks more like week-old garbage mixed with surgery leftovers.
Oh, okay, that's a very graphic description. This isn't a crime documentary, it's a freaking KFC meal. Maybe this other review will sound a bit less queasy.
An eviscerated corpse would be more appetizing than this embellished litter box of a meal.
Ah, stop, that's vile. How do these people have these graphic descriptions of crime documentaries in their minds? So after these horrible moldy corpsey descriptions, I'm afraid to even ask, how do they taste? Well, Catherine bravely stepped up to try this nacho box and she said,
Disgusting! Hardly any popcorn chicken, and the tortilla chips tasted off. I'm never eating here again. I'll make my own. I have the secret recipe.
Well, Catherine, I'm sure yours will at least taste better than the horrifying things I'm picturing from these reviews. As for you, KFC, you go and sit in the corner and think about what you've done. Hopefully they can leave the Mexican food to the Mexicans next time. And lucky number 5. KFCs Air Kentucky. When I walk through the airport, I see the usual slathering of fast food restaurants, and they are a nice quick treat before a flight. But what if that fast food feast took flight with you 35,000 feet into the air? What's that? That's a bad idea? Well, take your seat and strap in, because this one's a bumpy ride for us, and KFC. You see, in 2012, Japan Airlines and KFC had an interesting match, and together they joined forces to create Air Kentucky, a KFC in-flight box meal. And I guess it's a novel idea, it's not like you see McDonald's taking flight, but maybe there's a reason we don't see fast food in the air. I mean, look at this thing. It just looks kind of sad. It's hard to say what's wrong about it. Maybe it's the meal itself. It was a very basic chicken leg and chicken breast, teamed up with flatbread, lettuce leaves, and coleslaw. Or maybe the problem is the look of this washed out box it comes in. I actually don't mind these gentle blue colors, but it just doesn't stand out or look like KFC. Apparently though, this isn't the first time Japan Airlines has collaborated with a not-so-Japanese food chain. When they started flying the Boston routes, they collaborated with Mr. Donut. Back then, they sold in-flight donuts on the plane. So with Xmas coming, they wanted to start serving KFC in-flight for the Xmas season. And if you've ever seen Japanese ads, you know that KFC and Xmas go together like milk and cocoa. You see, KFC is a big Christmas favorite in Japan, and it's a Japanese tradition in many homes to order the party barrel and have a feast with family. Hokkaido resident Naomi said,
It's customary to eat chicken at Christmas. Every year, we order early and pick it up. If you don't pre-order, you're waiting in lines for hours.
So it's no huge surprise that this collaboration happened. Japan Airlines just stuck to Xmas tradition in Japan and wanted to order something special for customers, and I guess bring some festive cheer on board with their flights. But personally, this is the most deeply dejected and sorrowful looking piece of chicken I have ever seen. I think seeing this thing would make me slam the door in the face of Tiny Tim and denounce my non-existent faith. I mean, it's KFC, at least give us chips and gravy. Anyway, who cares what I think? Good on Japan Airlines for trying to bring some festive spirit to their flights. And what do we got for number 4? KFC's Scoffy Cup. The first thing that struck me about the Scoffy Cup? It has the most unattractive name since Nigel, but apparently this was a real product. You see, back in 2015, KFC teamed up with the Robin Collective and created one of the biggest gimmicks in KFC's history. This was the Scoffy Cup, which was an aroma-infused edible coffee cup made from biscuit, then wrapped in sugar paper and lined with a layer of white chocolate. As much as I can feel the cavities just thinking about this thing, I actually think it sounds like a fun idea. Though team this thing up with a caffeinated beverage, and I think I'd spend the rest of the day just running on the treadmill frantically in a sugar caffeine high. But that aside, this is basically an edible coffee cup. This cup apparently smelled like grass, but tastes like chocolate. So why was it cancelled? Was it hated? It was meant to, quote unquote, evoke the positive memories we associate with warm weather, sunshine, and holidays. So what went wrong here?
I think it sounds awesome. What could be better than coffee with a biscuit?
I know, honey. I'm going to the shops later. I'll get you some more biscuits.
Nice biscuits.
Yes, they'll be very nice.
Yay!
Anyway, the idea of this seemed to be actually pretty innovative. In a time where single-use cups are becoming a real issue, millennials in particular were aiming to innovate with this edible packaging. So KFC wanted to see if this edible cup could address consumer concerns. And personally, I think it's a cool novelty. I wish this had stuck around. Even if you don't finish it, the coffee cup is still biodegradable. Senior Director of Global Strategy, who has one of the most boring titles in the world, had this to say.
This type of edible packaging is definitely aligned with sustainability and simplifying life.
Unfortunately, the idea may have been good, but the execution was poor. Despite testing the cups and promising they wouldn't melt, well, they melted.
The hotter the coffee, the faster the cup will degrade.
When asked directly, Robin, the co-founder of Robin Directive, admitted,
So maybe this isn't the best cup for your coffee straight from the kettle.
a coffee cup that can't hold coffee. It doesn't paint the best picture. So due to these issues, the KFC Scoffy Cup didn't last long. Number 3. KFC's edible nail polish. You've probably heard the term finger-licking good being thrown around before, but in 2016, KFC Hong Kong decided to launch a product that would truly test this theory out. Edible nail polish. Ugh, I'm sorry, even the concept of this one makes me feel kind of queasy. But my trepidations aside, the idea was pretty simple. It was nail polish that apparently tasted like chicken. It also came in 2 different flavors. Original recipe nail polish and hot and spicy nail polish. You see, it was meant to have you licking your fingers long after you left KFC. And I guess if you like KFC, that might be appealing in concept. Yeah, probably not. Who wants to constantly lick their fingers? That's not a very clean habit.
Your sense of appropriate public behavior leaves a lot to be desired.
But who cares how I felt? I'd love to know how other people felt on this. Let's hear what Crystal from China thought.
I don't think eating nail polish is a good idea. It's not elegant for women to lick their fingers.
I mean, I'm more concerned about the hygiene implications, but yeah, I can see where she's coming from. Imagine walking down the street seeing a bunch of people licking their fingers. What are we, cats? It'd probably look like, well, a regular KFC customer eating. Anyway, what did Lily from Hong Kong think?
It's an innovative idea. I've never heard of anything like it before. It will make it fun to paint my nails with my friends.
Yeah, I guess it's a bit of fun. Nice to see someone seeing the positive side of it. As you can see, some people did like the idea, but when it was released, apparently there were a lot of complaints about the polish. Complaints were mostly about the taste itself, such as,
It tastes like spices mixed in goop, but nothing like KFC chicken. Sad face.
spices and goop? Oh, that sounds awful. Because not only did it taste not great, but the polish took several coats to even reveal a color. Plus, the final nail in the coffin was the polish expired within 5 days of bottling.
It is sourced from natural ingredients, so the shelf life isn't long.
That barely qualifies as a shelf life at all. But at least it didn't sound like we were missing out on very much. KFC nail polish, you shall not be missed. And for number 2, KFC Water Box. Oh, you won't believe this one. Have you ever had an urgent craving for fried chicken, but your phone is dead so you can't tweet your craving? No, like most people, you're probably not that creepily dependent on social media, thereby invalidating this whole stupid idea. But that didn't stop KFC in India dreaming up the idea of the Water Box. But what's a lot of Water Box, you ask? Well, this is a KFC boxed meal with a charging station built into the box. Pretty fun novelty, right? Well, unfortunately, Whatanutter got a lot of fans. Why? Well, they advertised it and everything, but then decided to make it unavailable in a meal. You couldn't even purchase the box separately. It was only available in India, in a few stores, in 2 cities to select customers. Only those customers who won the privilege of getting one. They really were proud of this stupid novelty idea, weren't they? On their Facebook page, KFC put up a post that read like this.
Help your friend win the limited edition #WaterBox. That one friend whose phone is always out of charge. Tag him or her and tell us why the #WaterBox is a match made in heaven for them.
So basically, we won't be able to get one, boo. Sorry. Nah, don't be sad. These things kinda sucked anyway. The charger had all the right connections for iPhone or Android, but it still didn't actually work. In a trial done by BGR, they found it took half an hour to charge a phone to 17% before the charging station died. When they tried to charge the power bank itself, it only managed to charge by 7% before kicking the bucket again.
What is taking so long?
But all that aside, I have to ask the question, what does a charging station have to do with fried chicken in the first place? What is with pushing this useless gimmick?
Actually, I think it kinda did take off.
Huh? How so, honey?
Well, it's a stupid idea that doesn't technologically work, but it got lots of attention from articles, and we're talking about it too. So basically, KFC wins.
Huh, yeah, that's true. As Ernest Packaging said, KFC is both a food company and a packaging company. And even if this charging box sucked, it still made the chicken meals stand out, which inevitably brought us together to talk about this train wreck of an idea. And before we get to number one, let's go through some quick honorable mentions. KFC's pickled fried chicken. Did you know there was a pickle fad in 2018? I know, I was blissfully ignorant until I discovered this too. Disneyland had a pickle top cheeseburger, Sonic Drive-Ins had a pickle slushy, ew, and KFC joined the pickle mania with their pickle fried chicken. It was one of those quote-unquote acquired tastes that people either loved or hated, but because this was kept limited edition, the pickled chicken never really had the chance to fail. So I left this one as an honorable mention. Kentucky Fried Chicken Ribs. You remember that time KFC tried to be Kentucky Fried Beef and ham?
What?
Apparently, this actually wasn't the only time that KFC tried to branch into other meats. Back in the 1970s, the chain had an interesting concoction of barbecue pork ribs that apparently had nothing to do with barbecue or pork. But when I looked into this one, I couldn't find a great deal of information on them. But they apparently existed, and I found a lot of people reminiscing about them in old forums. I also found some old reviews of it that at least earned the KFC ribs a mention. Mind you, definitely not all good reviews.
Awful. Not even my dogs would eat them.
Original recipe boneless chicken.
Hey Boo, what's the difference between original recipe boneless chicken and boneless tenders? Absolutely nothing.
Honestly, I've always really enjoyed the boneless chicken, and it was heavily promoted at KFC back in the day. I still remember the boneless dinner box ad, but apparently it failed to appeal on a wider scale, and the boneless chicken was quietly removed from menus around 2014. Personally, I don't think some of their commercials sold it that well.
I ate the bones? I ate the bones?
But hey, I'm pretty sure boneless tenders are basically the same, so at least we got those. KFC's Double Down Dog, Cheetos Sandwich, and Cheezer. I couldn't rightfully do this list without at least mentioning the Double Down Dog, Cheezer, and Cheetos Sandwich. They are all ridiculously stupid ideas, both in concept and execution. The Double Down Dog looked horrendous. According to reviews, it tasted horrendous. You couldn't cut the cheeser properly in outside commercials, it just looked terrible. And Cheetos Sandwich is just, no, I would have those two foods separate any day. They're all pretty stupid ideas, so I mentioned these in the stupidest fast food video I did earlier. If you're curious, I added the video card. And with those said, let's check out our final choice. And lucky last, number one, KFC potato wedges. Potato is generally one thing that goes with everything, and KFC is no exception. KFC potato and gravy is among fan favorites, and up until recently they had another gem. Since the 1980s, KFC potato wedges have been a replacement for fries, at least in countries like America anyway. It's a popular favorite, it even got a few mentions on my Twitter. Up until 2019, American customers were enjoying their potato wedges. But in 2020, KFC announced they were replacing the item with the Colonel's secret recipe fries. Wait, don't they already sell fries, or is that just in my country?
No, it's not just your country, Strider. I'm from the Netherlands, and we've had fries at KFC for as long as I can remember.
Here in Australia, KFC has been selling fries only for many decades. But as far as I can see, in America, they've been all about the wedges for a long time. Anyway, in 2023, KFC revamped their fries into special recipe fries, fully replacing their old fries. While the head chefs of the chain were apparently calling this a welcome and long-awaited change for the customers, the customer outrage regarding the change was pretty loud. People took to social media saying things like,
The fact that KFC no longer does wedges is a crime. Everybody does fries. Bring back potato wedges. These fries suck. Colonel Sanders? More like Clown Sanders.
hey, what do you got against clowns? Anyway, the cries of fans were all but ignored by KFC. KFC released a statement saying,
We know that many of our fans adore our potato wedges, but we have to make difficult decisions to streamline our menu.
As far as I can see, KFC wanted to focus on their main menu offerings, and they wanted an easier, quicker option than wedges. Fries are much easier to cook. Anyway, once the turmoil of the announcement washed over, some people said this new original recipe fries wasn't so bad. But hey, we're in the age of nostalgia, so who knows? Wedges might get their time to shine again in the future. But as I said, here in Australia, we've always had KFC fries, and it's actually my favorite fries in fast food. But I understand it was a bit of a loss to America. And that concludes our tour through these cancelled KFC items. But if you think I missed an important failure, or you disagree and have an opinion, or you just feel like saying hi, feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching and hope to see you next time. Today's member question is from MXOY99. It felt rather relevant to me. They ask a chicken-related question. Which is your favorite chicken piece to eat? Wing, drumstick, or chest? I'd say my least favorite is the wing. I tend to find there's just no meat to it. While my favorite would be a tie between drumstick and chest. I actually did a Twitter poll to see what the community's favorite was for this one, and it turns out chest is a favorite. Thanks for the question.